Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Thank you for listening to Your Working Life, my podcast series featuring thought leaders in the career and personal growth arena. I know that you spend a significant portion of your life at work, so I'm on a mission to provide you with tools, inspiration, and resources so you can enjoy your career and love your life. And I'm delighted to welcome my very special guest, Dr. Noelle Nelson, to the show. Dr. Noelle, welcome. I'm so pleased to have you.
Thank you, Carol, and I'm looking forward to this very much.
Well, good. So I want to tell my listening audience about you. Dr. Noelle has many, many years of experience as a trial and business consultant, a relationship expert, author, and speaker. You have empowered countless individuals to be happier, healthier, and more successful at work, home, and in their relationships. You are a kindred spirit, Dr. Noelle, so I'm delighted to have you on the show. And today we're going to talk about your newest book, which is Got a Bad Boss. Work that boss to get what you want at work, which I love because I know so many people just have that reality that they're dealing with a difficult boss. And you believe that we can take control of our jobs and our careers as I do. So let's start, Dr. Noelle. Bad bosses are an age-old problem. So what's new on this topic? And what do we do with bad bosses in today's workplace?
Well, what's new, frankly, Carolyn, is that we're now between a rock and a hard place. In other words, the millennials and Gen Xers and so forth are much less willing to put up with what boomers were willing to put up with in terms of bad bosses. Yet, on the other hand, there aren't exactly a gazillion of good jobs out there. So
Yeah.
people are kind of scared to quit. And they've discovered often that even if they do quit, they end up with a worser boss. So who wants
Mm,
that?
mm.
So that would really be what's new, is that people are kind of between a rock and a hard place when it comes to bad bosses.
Okay, so you have unearthed in the book a recent Ohio State study that says that many people think that retaliating against their bad boss with, passive aggressive tactics such as ignoring the boss or doing a half-hearted job is the way to go. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I heartily disagree
Okay.
because it's kind of human nature. You've got a bad boss, Carolyn, and you're going to want to run, run away, avoid
Yeah.
it, hide under your desk, whatever. But if you want to succeed, and that's the whole thing, that's where you and I share a common point of view. We want people to be happy and to succeed. Well, then you need to turn your boss into an ally. You
Mm.
cannot do that if you're being passive aggressive or if you're just kind of, showing up sort of. It won't happen. You really do have to do a very good job and become an ally if you personally are to succeed at your job.
Which is a good segue, right? Because the subtitle of your book is Work That Boss to Get What You Want at Work. So I know what work that boss means, as a fellow professional in the career development realm and also as a career coach. But I would love to get your take. What does working a bad boss mean?
Well, from my perspective, working a bad boss is first of all determining what kind of bad boss you have, because there are a number of different ones. And from there, figuring out what is their secret fear and what is their secret desire. Because quite frankly, Carolyn, we all have something we run towards, which is love and success and abundance and all those good things, and things we run away from, which are fear and loneliness and ill health and lack of love and all those sorts of things. Well, bad bosses have specific fears and specific desires. When you figure out what those are, you can help your bad boss either avoid that fear or fulfill that desire, in which case you become valuable to him or her. You become a resource that they want. Now that is working your bad boss, meaning you're literally mining them, if you
Yeah.
will, for the treasures that will lead you to on your path to success.
Well, and I really appreciate you saying that because quite often employees don't know their bosses well. They're these
Right.
leadership figures that just seem so lofty and aloof, and getting to know them is a critical strategy. So, what is the most critical strategy, in your opinion, for working that bad boss?
Well, is to figure out what is that secret fear and what is that secret desire. May I give you an example?
Please
Because
do.
I think Yeah, examples always help all of us understand better. And if we look at a really classic bad boss, which is the finger pointer boss,
Mm,
we all know that's the one that's blaming you for anything that goes wrong, doesn't matter
right.
what, and, never takes responsibility for anything that goes wrong. Well, a finger pointer boss's secret desire, oddly enough, is to be a 100% success.
Hmm.
Their secret fear is that they haven't got the goods. They can't pull it off, whatever it is, successfully. So, whenever there's trouble, they lay it off on somebody else, usually you. So, the secret to working your finger pointer boss is to be his or her problem solver,
Yeah.
because that's what they're all about. So, when we say getting to know your boss, from my perspective, it's not so much getting to know how many kids they have or, what their hobbies are. That's nice. But really, it's getting to know what is driving them. And once you know what is driving them, then you can, if you will, in this case with a finger pointer boss, be their problem solver. In other words, find that secret to working them. And from there, you have value and you can start getting what you need.
Okay, so I get that. Now I will come back to you and say, do you have frank conversations with this person? Do you observe them? How do you do this in a way that is appropriate and professional? Because I know a lot of our listeners, I'm getting into their heads. I can imagine they're saying, well, that's a great theory, but how do I figure out what the problems are so I can be the solution provider? What are your thoughts about communicating and mining these issues?
Well, it's exactly why I wrote the book, frankly. I'm not, I don't really want to refer to it at this point, but there are certain classic types of bad boss, and they're very easy to recognize. For example, a finger pointer boss is real easy to recognize because they are literally pointing the finger. Their
Yeah.
primary management skill, if we can call it that, is blame. So that's how to recognize a finger pointer boss. And observation is all you need, and usually only about 5 minutes. Let's take another classic bad boss, the ghost boss. That is the
Mm,
boss who either physically, in other words, literally, or figuratively, is not there, does not provide resources, doesn't provide any kind of support, won't answer questions or answers them vaguely, is literally a ghost. Well, there's a completely different way to work with a ghost boss, but that's how you recognize them. The person isn't there. Or how about the egomaniacal boss, which was beautifully depicted in The Devil Wears Prada, for those of you who
right, right.
saw that movie. And basically, the egomaniacal boss is very obvious because they are larger than life. They are often extremely charismatic, very intelligent, often, and strutting their stuff, if you will, mercilessly.
Mm.
You just have to observe for about 2 minutes and you can figure out which ilk, if you will, which type of bad boss you have. And from there are specific ways to determine how to work with them because they each have a different set of specific fear and specific desire.
So observation is key, right? First to type your boss.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Yes.
how does one maintain their own sense of self-worth while trying to work that boss?
Well, to remember that, if anything, this is a beautiful esteem booster, is you've just put yourself in charge of your job
Mm.
because now you're not at their mercy. On the contrary, you are going to turn yourself into their ally. That's an equal partner. They don't have to know it. As a matter of fact, they never will. But you know
Exactly.
it within yourself. Right. You
Wonderful,
don't expect
wonderful.
them to give you the kudo. That isn't going to happen.
No.
But you know it. You know I am now in charge of my job, my career. I am putting myself, if you will, in the driver's seat. And boy, does that feel good.
Well, and I agree. You've got to be in charge of your own career destiny. Don't let a boss uh, be the one who's driving the car. Take that wheel.
There you go.
Okay, so let's go a little deeper. Now, years ago, you talked about different generations, right? Whether it's millennials or Gen X or boomers. I like to think that my dad, who is long since retired, but an older boomer, if you will, always told me as a young girl, work hard, right? That honest to goodness work ethic, you'll be rewarded. And I have to say, Dad, I disagree. I don't think that is the silver bullet for career growth and success anymore. What are your thoughts on that, Dr. Noel?
I think of hard work as the foundation. In other words, if you really want to get ahead in your job or career, you have to be good at what you do.
Hmm.
So I don't like to think of it so much as hard work, Carolyn, these days as smart work. In other words, you know how to advance your own skills, to improve your own skill set, to get really, really good, both at what you want to do now and where you see your career going. So certainly you have to put in the time, if you will. You have to put in the effort. However, it is not a silver bullet, absolutely not. It just isn't enough by itself. And that's why we're having this discussion. You have to know how to manage your boss. You have to know how to work your boss. You have to be the one to chart your own course, because it is no longer a society, if you will, where you start at the bottom and you know that as long as you keep your nose to the grindstone, you'll systematically work your way up to the top. That is not what happens these days, not at all. If you want to get up to the top, you have to plan, strategize, find mentors, do your darndest, improve your own skill set. I mean, it takes a lot of initiative, but quite frankly, it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And I like to be in control, right? And I think I would
You
add to
betcha.
that. I love your wisdom there. You've got to be seen and heard and recognizable beyond your boss, as you mentioned, with
Absolutely.
mentors or possibly sponsors. So, Dr. Noel, are there things that we can learn by working for a bad boss that could actually help us in our career, on our career journey?
Oh, absolutely. Like, let's take the finger pointer boss that we were just talking about earlier. The lesson from that is become a problem solver. Whatever your boss, whoever your boss, you will be more valuable to your company. And your company is watching. If they realize that you are thinking on your feet and that you have become a go to person, upper management is going to notice that. And then you will be on a fast track to promotion. Or let's say you've got a criticizing type boss. Classic, right?
Hmm.
Well, the lesson you want to pull from that is when your boss criticizes you, don't get defensive.
Right.
Figure out how to do your job better. Because again, companies value stand up employees who don't wimp out and who find new ways to perform with excellence.
So, Dr. Noel, what is the most important message that you want listeners to hear when it comes to working with a bad boss?
Well, I think it's that instead of running away or hiding or avoiding or in any way resisting, if you will, that bad boss, is to become an ally to your bad boss. Become valuable, become a resource, because then one way or another, you truly will win. You will get more of what you need and want from the bad boss. And importantly, the higher ups will pay attention to you, and you will have that much more basis for either a promotion or a move out where you can go up the ladder of success. So that would be what I would want the takeaway to be.
I love it. So, power is not given, it's taken. Take your power. Brilliant. Dr. Noel Nelson, how can we buy your book and how can we follow you online?
Buying the book is easy. You simply go to Amazon. It is an ebook and can be downloaded onto any Kindle app, which are all free, or Kindle itself. And you can find me on Facebook. It's simply Got a Bad Boss. On Twitter, Got a Bad Boss. And my website is noellenelson.com. And on all three of those, we post new and different material all the time in my constant endeavor to help and support people in getting what you want at work.
Dr. Noel, thank you so much. What a joy to have you on the show, and I truly appreciate your wisdom and expertise. And I want to thank you for tuning into Your Working Life, where my goal is to help you design your career destiny so it doesn't happen by default. True career and life satisfaction is possible, and it's time to embrace what you love doing so you can do more of it. I'm Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Take good care.